Hey, AfterShock readers, this is Mike Marts, editor-in-chief at AfterShock Comics, and with me is writer-creator Paul Tobin, who just had his A Calculated Man launch last month with co-creator Alberto Albuquerque. Paul, first off, how are you doing?
Pretty good. The weather's nice here in Portland for a change. We're getting a little rain today. I love rain, so it's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So with A Calculated Man, which debuted last month, what would you like readers to get out of this new title?
It's the sense of character of Jack Beans, the main character that I most want people to focus on. There's such a variety of people in life and also on the page, and character is always what fascinates me. The story is, I don't want to say secondary, but the story to me lives through a character. And so I really want people to focus on what I think we've created, a really intriguing character with Jack Beans and his quirks, his love for math, his inability to lie, and things like that, that I think really drive the story and the action forward. And so it's an intriguing character look that I want people to really focus on.
Yeah, he's definitely a character that readers will fall in love with instantly. I think he's just extremely likable, even though he does some questionable things.
He does.
And besides Alberto Albuquerque, your other co-creators or your other collaborators on this book are
Taylor Esposito. He's just fantastic. I love how quick he comes back and how quick he fixes the small amount of changes. Most of the changes are my fault. I'm like, I'll just read through and something will seem better. I think it's important to always read through out loud, because sometimes things that are said out loud are just seem more natural. And then I'm blanking on the colorist because I just got back from my climbing gym and I'm exhausted. DJ.
That's okay. Mark Englert is our colorist.
Mark Englert. Yes. He's fantastic. He's really brought, like Alberto is like one of those artists that is brilliant, that can be a little bit hard to color, I think, because his action himself is so dynamic that if you make dynamic coloring, then everything starts to seem like graffiti on a wall, basically. But Mark really plays to Alberto's strengths. I'm actually really happy how they work together. Everything feels natural.
Yeah, you have a great team on that book. The second of our 10 questions, why AfterShock?
Well, we had such fun with Bunny Mask is one thing. And the whole editorial crew, I mean, obviously headed by you, is so easy to work with, so fast to work with. I won't name any other companies, but it's often I'll say, I want to, I'll send in a script and like 2 weeks later, I'll get back notes. And by then I've forgotten everything, but you in particular get back notes so quick that I haven't even moved from the computer sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I have more work to do. So, and you're pretty incisive too on this works, this doesn't. So that's good. And I agree with you pretty much 100% of the time. So that's good. But honestly, another thing about AfterShock is the separation of the comic with the film and TV makes me really comfortable that when I'm working with the editorial team, I know that what we're working for is the best comic we can come up with. And then Lee Kramer and the rest of the crew can worry about film and TV and things like that, which makes me feel really comfortable that I can just create characters and create story without worrying about a different aspect or a different looming presence. So it's the comfort of AfterShock that I really love.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Paul. Third question, if there was a comic book about your life, what would the title of it be?
I gave this some thought and all I can come up with is Sleepy Man. I feel like I'm sleeping 100% of the time anymore. I'm just struggling through it's like 2 hours until my daily nap, and then 6 hours after that, I get to go to bed. I've been part of that is because I'm back to my climbing gym now, and I couldn't because of the pandemic and then because of some shoulder surgery I had, I couldn't be at the climbing gym for a long time.
Mm.
So now that I can be back there to a certain degree, I'm there all the time and just exhausted all the time from
Right.
workouts.
For the best of reasons. And
Yeah.
our fourth question, do you have a favorite city or town?
It's so boring. It's well, it's not boring because it's my favorite city, but Paris is my favorite city, and that's such a passe answer, but it has been. My wife Colleen Coover and I spent like 3 weeks there once. We rented a small apartment and got to actually kind of quote unquote live there, and it was really fantastic. But at the same time, I like think through like I've done some travel, but not nearly as much travel as I would want. So there's so many more jewels of cities out there. So it's like Paris is my default answer, but I could probably find cities I love just as much.
Great. If you had to be on an island with one fictional character, who would it be?
Doctor Strange, because he could teach me magic, and that would be great. When I was a kid, I either wanted to be a comic book writer or the Sorcerer Supreme. And this would be, maybe a chance to sort of change careers midstream. So yeah, Doctor Strange.
Awesome. What about your favorite movie?
It's probably My Neighbor Totoro. It's such a charming movie. Like people have me describe what happens in it, and it's like, well, it's an entire movie, and honestly, nothing much happens. But it just feels so good. My secondary would be probably Iron Giant, which I think is a fantastic work. So I guess two animated movies. I hadn't even thought about that until I said that. But yeah.
Both great picks. Seventh question, if you were to cast any actor for the role of Jack Beans in A Calculated Man, who would you pick?
Definitely 100% Walton Goggins. I think he was so good in Justified and some other things, and he has, like, no matter what character he plays, he has a sort of obvious genius to him to a certain degree, but there's always a subtle menace too, and both of those would play so well with Jack Beans. And he has the look too. I think he'd make a great Jack Beans.
I agree. I think he's the perfect fit. How about favorite late night snack?
My favorite late night snack is to warm a tortilla, put peanut butter on it, and then cover it in honey, wrap it up, and eat it. It's so good.
Nice.
Warm peanut butter and honey in a tortilla. Yeah.
I might try that later. For our ninth question, in the ultimate food mascot showdown, who are the two challengers and who wins?
I want you to know before I answer this, that this is the question I gave the most thought to. And I actually even pulled, I polled some people at the climbing gym today. I talked to Colleen. I cannot see anybody beating the Jolly Green Giant. The Jolly Green Giant is like 600 feet tall. So, but my opponent for him would be Big Boy from the Big Boy restaurants, because then it would be like this clash of kaiju. It would be really exciting. And I think the Jolly Green Giant would win, but at least we get to see, mass destruction and things like that. A real clash.
That's a matchup I want to see. And for our final question of the day, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter is absolutely the best place. I'm Paul Tobin on Twitter. I'll post about what I'm working on. I'll post a lot of really dumb stuff that I enjoy. So I have fun on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Paul. For readers out there, you can pick up A Calculated Man. Number 1 is in stores now. Number 2 comes out in July. And we thank you for coming on today, Paul.
That was great. Thanks much.
All right.